Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. Hopefully everybody liked that video I did of the lighting in the garage. I know it's not exciting or a sexy video, but I wanted to share that with everybody. And today we're going to do something that's a little sexy, a little bit more motorcycle repairs or upgrades. Today we're going to install 13-inch Legend suspension with the remote reservoir on our 2022 CVO Roadglide. That's right. We're going to take out the stock suspension with 3,000 miles on the bike on the rear, and we're going to throw them in the garbage because that's where they belong. Harley puts the worst shocks you can think of on their premier motorcycles. So, hey guys, first thing we need to do is we need to remove our saddlebags, and we need to get the bike up in the air, and then we're going to support the weight of the bike and zip out our shock bolts. Now we're going to hold on to all the hardware and get it done. Through the magic of cameras and recording, the shocks are out for delivery right now. So when they get here, but I'll be ready when they get here. So however many hours that is, it'll only be a moment for you. So I'm actually going to do the video of removing the saddlebags of what you need to do. So here we go. All right. So of course the first thing you want to do is open your saddlebag, and then you want to unscrew these. And this saddlebag is nice and basically empty. This is the wife's side. My side, I got a little bit more junk in it. But why I want to do this is I want to show you something here that's important if you have speaker lids. Now these are the factory speaker lids from Harley-Davidson. So, all right guys, sorry about that. There was a phone call coming in, but like I was saying, down here, there's a connector. That is for your speaker lid. So you just unplug it. It's a push and a pull. You push a little tab in right here, right in front of my thumb. You squeeze that down and pull it out. And that unplugs your speaker. All right, so I'm going to get this bag off and we're going to do the other bag. All right, that was the throttle side of the bike. Now we're on the clutch side of the bike, or left side. So this side's got two connectors in it. As you can see, I got a lot more stuff in my side of the bag because you never know what I'm going to ride into. So I keep a sweatshirt with me, some gloves, the case for my eyeglasses. So again, you're going to just unscrew these, which are much better than what they put on the bikes in the past of those quick disconnects. All right, so those are undone. So what I'm going to do is close the lid and lock it. And you can see down here, now we have two plugs. That one is for the amplifier. This one is for the speaker. So I always start on the top one, push it in, and unsnaps. And then the same thing on the bottom. You push it in, and it unclips, and you slide the connector right off. I'm working one-handed here, so it's kind of hard so I don't drop my bag. So hold on. All right, I got the bike jacked up. I got the weight off the wheel. And I'm going to show you what I did here. Is I got this scissor stand, and it goes underneath and it catches the frame, as you can see. And to remove our rear shocks, it's pretty simple. You got one bolt here and one bolt there. Same thing on the other side. There are two bolts. One bolt here, one bolt there. And what these are, and once you remove those, they're 3/4 inch socket. Once you remove those two, the shock comes right off. And I'm going to show you that in about 2 seconds. So we're going to work on this together with tear down, putting it together, and then setting up the double adjustable. All right guys, I got my impact gun just to make my life easy, but not many tools needed for this job. One, you need to support your bike and get it up and get the weight off the back tire so you can remove the suspension. If you don't do that, your bike is going to hit the floor and be done. I don't recommend doing one shock at a time. because, you know, these are 13-inch where the stocks are 12 inches long. So I'm going to show you right here what we do. So I take my gun, zip that right out of there. And that's 1 3/4 inch bolt. The other one, I'm going to have to play a little dance here with the swing arm to get the gun on it. So, second bolt, the bike did drop a little bit, but not enough. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the bike a little on the scissor stand, so I could clear the bag support for the bike to get to the bottom bolt. And there you go. That's the left shock is removed, and it just rolled around on me. And now the right shock is removed. All right, so all we have to do now, guys, is wait for the delivery of the new shocks. So I'm going to jack this up a little bit because, like I said, these are 13-inch shocks. They're an inch taller than the factory. And the reason why I went with 13 is, well, one, that's what they come with for the remote reservoir. And two, I wanted more shock travel from when I'm riding 2 up. And to me, that's what's important. All right, so we're going to make sure we put Loctite back on these. And when the shocks come in, guys, we'll continue on. Like I said, through the magic of filming, it'll only be a second from when you see it. Meanwhile, I'm going to be sitting around waiting. All right, FedEx just showed up. We got our box from Legend Suspension. So looking forward to this. Let's unbox this together, see what's in here. Well, we all know what's in here. Rear shocks with remote reservoirs. We got some stickers here. Some instructions. You know how I feel about those. All right. Got some nice bracketry. And we have, oh, that fell. One Legend shock with remote reservoir. And the second one with remote reservoir. Now, what's interesting about this is the way these work is you have your adjustment on the bottom, then you have an adjuster on the remote reservoir. The adjuster on the bottom of the shock will do your rebound. Now, what's rebound, you ask? That's a very good question. Well, the answer is quite simple. What rebound is how quickly the shocks extend and then retract. And as far as the initial setup goes, because there is a couple things you need to do before, which is first thing you want to do is you want to measure your shock length on both shocks. You want to make sure those are equal. So what we're going to do is measure this, and that is 9 1/4 inches. So we're going to go measure the second one. And if they're off, I can show you how we can adjust that as well. This one's at 9 1/2. So you don't ever want to install it, just throw your shocks in. And the way you would adjust these is, I'm going to bring this other one back over so we can do this together. We can both see what's happening. Is on the bottom of your shock right here, you just got to turn that in to adjust it. Well, it's not really turning in. So let's see. They don't give you a tool for this. And well, what's important about that is you want your shocks to have an equal length and equal preload on your spring. So with this being done this way, we have to get in there. We have to get this to turn somehow. And it's easier to do it with the way the shock off. And there's 7 adjustments to these shocks. So let me get this starting to turn. I'll get back to you. All right, what we're going to do, I just thought about it. We're going to mount these on the bike and then do the adjustment for the preload. It'll actually be easier on the bike instead of trying to hold the shock and try and spin the bottom spring perch. So let's take a look at our hardware kit that we have. A couple nice brackets here. These brackets mount next to the muffler, and I'll show you that. So they're actually going to be hidden up out of the way, which I like. We got some new hardware, some spacers, and a hose clamp so we can clamp the hose up out of the way. All right, so what we have here is we're going to reuse our 3/4 inch bolts, both of them, without the washer. And there's a small spacer, put it on the bolt. Then there's a larger spacer that will go to the inside of the shock, just like that. All right, so let me turn this camera and we're going to install these shocks together. All right, so we're going to start this one by hand. And the hose goes to the top facing the back of the bike. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So let's move on over there. All right, we're on the left side of the bike, aka clutch side. Washer comes off, thin spacer goes on, bolt through the top of the shock, thicker spacer to the inside, and start this one by hand. And now what we have to do is, remember I said these are longer, so what we have to do now is jack up the bike and align the bolt pattern or the bolt to the lower shock mount. Again, removing that spacer. So let me do that without getting in front of the camera. So I'm picking up the bike. It should be it, or really close, I should say. Again, starting these by hand, and I got to lower this down just to here. You know, you're always starting your bolts by hand. This way, you don't cross thread. Okay, that one's going right in, which is a nice thing. Now these will mount down here, which is nice because, you know, I don't like showing off what I have. So they're going to be mounted down here, and nobody will know what I have unless I tell them, which is the one thing I do like about these. I did see them where, you know, people have them mounted up here on the back, and everybody can see what you got going on. I'm not a big fan of that. I like them. I like that stealth look. And then again, you know, the torque to these is 75 foot-pounds, I believe. I'm going to look that up before I get in with the final tightness. So let's go get the other side lined up. Okay, again, I got my other bolt. The thinner spacer goes through the back shock. And then the thicker washer. And remember I said about the shock lengths makes a difference? Well, I have to jack the bike up a little bit more so I can get this bolt lined up. But we will fix the shock length very shortly because that's important. And once the shocks are on, what you want to do is you want to have a 1/2 inch of sag with the weight on the bike. What does that mean? Well, when you sit on it, you want the back end of the bike to drop a 1/2 inch. And that puts the shock in its sweet spot. I took the top out to get this bottom one caught. So we're going to have to muscle this down to get this bolt started without cross-threading it. So the bottom bolt is in. We're going to need a few more tools in this 3/4 inch socket that I have to get this all put together. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, since this one's longer, I'm actually going to lower this down and then do the long side first and then use the weight of the bike to do the lighter side of the two shocks. It's kind of using the bike's weight to my advantage. Okay, so we got the upper shock bolt off. Tilt that back out of the way. Now I'm going to jack it back up. And we're going to see where we are here with lining up the bolt a little bit more, not much, just a touch. Because what I'm doing is I'm using the bike's weight to line these up, and it's off about 1/4 inch. So we're going to go up a little bit more. A little bit of a dance here between getting these things set up. All right, that one's started. Be right back. All right, I got the right side top tightened up. And now we're going to work here on the left side. Yeah, I'm running in with the gun. The two Ugga-Duggas. But we're going to continue on and getting this put together. Now, I'm going to make it so my adjuster here faces out the back. I'm going to see if that's actually possible. And it is, which is a good thing. And my wiring will clear it. And I want to make sure that I can keep all this away. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I'll be able to adjust these very easily. So if I want to adjust these shocks for running 1 up or 2 up, I can without a problem. They do give you other stickers. I'm not going to put the stickers on these cans. I like them black just the way they are. So we're going to need some additional tools here for our Allen bolts here to put these support brackets in. So let me get everything put together as far as tool wise, and I'll let you know what tools you need. Okay, so now for our bracket, which is right here. What we're going to need here is a T40 Torx, a 1/2 inch wrench, and a 9/16 wrench. So what we're going to do here is T40 on the inside, make sure we're on off, and I'm probably going to block the camera, I apologize, just to, you know, break these free here, because Harley did something different here on me, and they put the bolts going in opposite directions. Normally the nuts are on the other side. So let me get this done. I'll get right back to you just to save time on this video. All right, we got the bolts out, and I'm going to do what Harley doesn't do, is I'm going to put the bolts going in the same direction, in the direction of travel, which means both nuts are going to be on the back side of this. Now, the important thing is when you look at this, it really mounts one way. So the threaded side, the threaded side of your bracket for your clamp for your remote reservoir goes towards the muffler. And this is going to mount right in here just like that. And once I get this mounted, I'll take the camera off the tripod, move it around so you can see it. So let's get the tools we need for this, because now we need some Allen sockets. And we're going to need it to get everything else done here. So first things first is for for this bottom bolt, okay, it is a 3/16, and we're going to want to use Loctite. We always want to use Loctite, especially in an area where it's, you know, not a nut and bolt situation with a lock nut or a lock washer or anything like that. Legend does supply you with a longer bolt that they don't give you enough washers. So you can put the bolt through the bracket, the long one. That one goes in through here, and you're going to have to move things around to line them back up because they move around on you. Well, maybe we'll start on the inside one. Maybe that'll help get everything lined up and situated. And of course not. So we can move things around here, get it close. Hopefully that'll help. And it did. All right, so that's one. And now the other. And what seems to be our major malfunction. But as I always say, the mechanic always wins. So let's see if I can feed this through this side. Help get this thing lined up. It's close, but not close enough. There it is. Hey, it's over there now. All right, let me turn this camera off because I need to get where the camera is to get this thing lined up, and I'll get right back to you. Okay, just so everybody knows what I did here is, I got this long bolt, outer bolt in, and this thing pitched down this way. So I took a little pry bar and I torqued it over to line up the holes to get everything to line up properly. Now we're going to put our washers on and our nuts, and we're going to reuse the nuts that were on here previously that are stock. I prefer having a washer on both sides, but in this case it was not an option, so I choose to put on the side of the nut. All right, so let's get this here bolted back up, back together. This one here is a 5/16 Allen socket. With a 9/16 wrench. So we're going to put this in. All right, I don't know how much you guys missed. These GoPro batteries are horrible. So what I'm going to do is I am going to flip this around. I'm going to show you what's going on. All right, so you can see here in the bracket you got 2 new bolts. This here is just loosely fit in here for now. And I'm not sure if I'm going to flip this around or not. Have the adjuster towards the back or not. I'm not sure yet. I'll probably redo all this to do that. But you can see how this bolts up. This here gets connected right to here, and that'll help keep it away from the exhaust and from your pulley. All right, so let me switch that around and see if I like that any better, and I'll get back to you. All right, crew, so we got that situated. Yeah, I like it with the adjusters going out the back. Not too stealthy, in my opinion, but I like that easier. So if I wanted to make an adjustment on the fly, I don't have to crawl into the bike. So that would be your compression adjustment. And that's how fast it will compress. Now what we're removing here is this bolt. It's a T40. And what this is for, a clamp is going to go here, and they give you a spacer, and they give you the clamp. So I'm going to try to get this as close as possible to where I need it, and then I'll button it up. Perfect. And they give you a bolt for that with the washer. And again, this is a blind hole, which means it's threaded in there. There's no nut on the other side. So I'm going to use some Loctite. And I use orange Loctite. And why do I use orange? Because I like it. It's as strong as red, but it breaks evenly or as free as blue, which to me is a big plus. And again, start everything by hand. And you can see how nice and neat that keeps this hose away from the wheel, away from your pulley, away from the exhaust and the saddlebags. So we got one more bolt to tighten up, and that is down here. And what I don't like what I'm seeing now is I can't rotate this hose away from the exhaust. So I'm going to try and finagle this so the hose could go on the outside of the exhaust without undoing that bracket. So the first thing I want to do is, well, take this off. And we'll reapply the Loctite on there too. And yeah, I'm not using my electric impact for a change. I'm just too lazy to go get it. But I'm sure this will go a lot quicker if I had it. All right, so let's see. Can I do it? That would be amazing if I could. Almost. and no. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove this upper shock bolt and see if I can sneak it underneath and see how it looks next to the pulley. Because, you know, that's everything I'm always looking for, is how easy something is and how safe something's going to be. So I'm bringing you on this nice little journey of mine on getting my rear shock set up. I know I've done another set of Legends in the past, so this time I decided I'm going to do it this way. Let's see how this is. Okay, bolt, spacer, zip it. 2 ugga-duggas. All right. So we're going to put this back here and see how this all holds up. So we got our bolt, our spacer, some fresh orange Loctite, and now we just run it in. And I'm liking it much better this way. My wires could clear it right through here. That's a nice smooth transition, sort of. Let's fix that. There we go. That's a smoother transition. All right. So a nice smooth transition here. Now if I spin my remote reservoir a little bit, and I like the way that is. So we're going to put some Loctite on this 3/16 bolt, and we're going to get an Allen wrench to get in there and tighten it. And like always, start everything by hand and never run anything in with a tool. I know, Dr. Harley, you keep repeating yourself. Shut up. Well, that's for those of you who've never been here before. It's your first time finding our channel. Well, welcome. And if you're not new here, hey, welcome back. Hey guys, and down below, if you have any comments or anything, let me know what you think down below. Do you like Legend suspension? Do you not like Legend? Do you prefer Fox or another name brand? That would be amazing if you guys let me know. Or are you happy with your stock suspension? You know I wasn't happy with my stock suspension. There's always room for improvement on these bikes. Because, yes, this is the CVO. And yes, Harley did not put their best on this bike. Harley, if you don't agree with me, go ahead and reach out to me and let me know what you think. I'm going to like this because it gives that stealth look. Like, it still has the look of a stock suspension, but it's not. All right, let me pause this video, finish up this side, and we'll do the other side together. Okay, we got this side all buttoned up. As you can see here, the back shock's in there and torqued. Our little bracket that holds the hoses in there. And I routed it between the shock and the muffler, and I made sure I had plenty of room between the pulley and the remote reservoir. And as you can see, that's a pretty stealthy kind of look to it. All right, so we're going to do the other side together, and we're going to get this done. And, you know, we're going to have some more fun because we got to adjust the preload and set the rebound and the compression. All right, that's the beauty part of double adjustables, because you could set both of those. All right, guys, let me get to it, and as soon as I'm about ready to mount this one, we'll definitely do it together. All right, so I got the other side mounted. Now I just got to tighten it up. This side went a little bit easier, and so that's always a good thing. Easy is always good. But again, the clamp for the remote reservoir, I'm going to save till last. And the reason why I always put the bolts facing forward is that comes back from my aviation days. That's right, when I used to work on helicopters. Bolts always went in the direction of travel. This way, if the nut ever came off while in flight, that, you know, the bolt is still there. Well, we also had safety wire in every nut and bolt you could think of. But that's not the case here. I don't have safety wire in every nut and bolt, and nor do I plan on doing that. So I just take my best practices that I've known, that I've come up with in the aviation world. Okay, so that's done. That mount is mounted fully. Now we're going to do the clamp. So I need our T40 socket again. We're going to remove this bolt. And believe it or not, folks, we're almost done with this little project. I know the video was a little long, but hey, I want you guys to have an actual step-by-step on this, and you know how to set it up properly. This way, when you go to do yours, you can always refer back to this video and other videos like this to say, oh, that's how they did it, or oh, that's easy enough, I could do it myself. Just remember, the biggest caution I give you is support the weight of the bike before you remove any shocks from your bike. That is the biggest piece of advice I could give you, because if you don't, you're just going to make your life that much harder. Okay, that clamp is in and done. Now the last one we have to do is the clamp for here. We're going to set this where we want it, which I like it as close to back as possible. That looks about even right there. So I'm going to put some orange Loctite on this bolt as well. This is the last of this bottle of orange Loctite. I'm going to have to get some more here in the future. Sorry, I just kicked the camera. And again, the hose is away from the exhaust, away from the brake rotor on this. Legend does a really nice job setting this up. And I like these mounts better than the ones where they're mounted on the top of the fender. Yeah, they're easier to get to, easier to adjust, but I like the stealth look. Okay, that's done. All right, guys, so we'll get this off. Now what we want to do is measure here. Again, that's 9 1/4. And we're going to go to the other side together. We're going to measure that one up. So I remember correctly, that's more than 9 1/4. Yes, that's 9 1/2. So that's a 1/4 inch out from, so it's so much easier to spin now. Oh, I was going the right way at the beginning. Now that this is mounted. Again, you want these things to be as even as possible for preload. And I'm always going to go back and check my measurement. Okay. We are at 9 1/4 now. All right, so now what we want to do is we're going to set our rebound. You could turn them clockwise all the way. And that's no more, that's full in. So we're going to come back. You can feel the clicks on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting them. 6, 6. So I'm going to come in until I feel 3 clicks. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to turn it out counterclockwise till it stops. All right, so now we're going to come in 1, 2, 3. Now I set the rebound. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn these and see where we can end up here. So I'm going to go clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 3. So I'm going to bring it back the other way now that I know that's all the way. See how many clicks we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. So I'm going to bring these in at 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, counterclockwise, all the way to the end. And then I'm going to bring it back in 3 clicks clockwise. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now I set the compression, I set the rebound on these. Everything's torqued, everything's tight and where it should be. All right, guys, that's it. All I got left to do now is lower the bike, put the saddlebags on it, and take it for a road test. And the reason why I went 3 clicks on your rebound and your compression is I have now a known starting point. And what does that mean? That means is I can finally tune my suspension to the way I like it, riding 1 up or 2 up. And I can always say, all right, so for 2 up, I like it at 1, which would be basically your stiffest suspension on your rebound. And 4, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to play around with it and fine tune it and get it where I want. But now I have a known working position to start with these double adjustable shocks with the remote reservoirs. I'm really happy that I've gotten these shocks. They've been on order now for over a month, and I'm glad they finally came in. You know, they are not they're not an inexpensive shock. These cost me $1,500 plus tax. These were not sent to me to do a install and review on them. But I will say this for Legend. I've always used their products. I love their products. They've never did anything to disappoint me as far as quality and longevity. This is my 4th bagger, and this is my 4th set of rear shocks. Eventually, I want to do the front shocks on this. But again, that comes down to time and money. I have some time, but I don't have the money. And it's going to be sad is because when I have the money, I won't have the time. But I'm going to work on it. And as things go and progress, I will be doing the fronts as well. And I'm going to have to get the front shocks for a 21-inch wheel, which they're right around the $1,000. Where if you have the 19-inch wheel, they're right around $800. So $200 more for the 21-inch wheel. Where the regular Revo Axios without any adjustments, it's a good shock. It's a comfortable shock. My wife loves the ride of them. They're right around $800 shipped with taxes. And I'm quoting all the prices I'm giving you are off of JP Cycles. And you go to that website, it's jpcycles.com. You put your year, make, and model in, and you can select your shocks from there. The Revo A's, which are a single adjustable shock, they have the dial on the bottom where you can adjust your compression on them. And those are roughly about $900 to $1,000. And then these shocks are $1,500 plus tax. So, with all that being said, guys, hey, live the best life you can, ride often, and ride hard.
Ready? Like and subscribe to Dr.Harley.